The cafe hummed with life. Steam hissed from the futuristic coffee machines, and the soft glow of neon signs reflected off polished metal tables. Humans, aliens, and even a few small robotic assistants moved between the tables, chatting, laughing, and ordering drinks. It was a busy day at Starlight Cafe, the kind of place that had earned a reputation across the galaxy for being welcoming to everyone, even beings who rarely mixed in public. Behind the counter, Lara moved gracefully, balancing a tray filled with steaming cups and small plates of alien pastries. Her uniform was simple, a light blue tunic with a utility belt full of tools for serving, and her curly brown hair was tied neatly behind her head. She had learned to smile through chaos. After all, in a cafe where dragons and humans sat at the same tables, chaos was almost a guarantee. Lara had been working at Starlight Cafe for just over a year. In that time, she had served everything from tiny, glowing insects that tasted like honey to enormous plates of crystalline meat that shimmered with color. She knew how to handle difficult customers, though nothing could have prepared her for the group that arrived today. The cafe's automatic doors slid open with a metallic whisper, and a sudden hush fell over the room. The air seemed to thicken, as if the presence of certain patrons could weigh down gravity itself. In stepped the dragons, veteran warriors who had traveled through countless wars and survived conflicts that would have destroyed ordinary beings. Their scales were deep shades of blue, bronze, and emerald, glinting under the cafe's lights. They wore armored vests, decorated with battle medals and insignias from wars across the stars. Their long tails swayed behind them, and even their massive wings were partially folded, brushing against the walls. Lara paused mid-step, her tray still balanced in her hands. She had seen dragons before, hollow images, museum displays, and even a few in documentaries, but never in person, never in the same room as her. The dragon's eyes glimmered with intelligence and caution, scanning the cafe as if measuring every movement. Patrons instinctively moved aside, giving the newcomers a wide berth. One of the dragons, a tall male with bronze scales and scars etched across his face, stepped forward and spoke in a voice that rumbled like distant thunder. "We are here for service. Make it quick." Lara swallowed, forcing a polite smile. "Of course. Welcome to Starlight Cafe." "Right this way," she said, leading them toward a reserved section at the back. Her voice was steady, though her heart raced. Dragons were known for their strict codes of honor, and veteran dragons even more so. A single misstep could cause offense, sometimes with consequences no human would dare imagine. The dragons followed, moving gracefully despite their size. Their claws clicked against the floor, a sound that made the cafe feel suddenly smaller. Lara guided them to a long table, seating them carefully to avoid the snapping of tails or accidental tipping of chairs. One dragon, smaller but older, hissed softly, clearly displeased with the positioning. Lara nodded, apologizing, and rearranged the seating to satisfy him. She had learned early on that patience and attention to detail were the best weapons in her work. Once seated, the dragons examined the menu holograms projected in front of them. Lara noticed that their eyes lingered not just on the food, but on the small decorations and ornaments around the cafe. She smiled internally. It was rare for them to show curiosity beyond the necessary. These were creatures of history, warriors who had survived deadly missions and intergalactic battles. Yet here they were, scanning a cafe menu like ordinary diners. She took a deep breath and approached their table. "What would you like to drink? Coffee, tea, or something special from the menu?" she asked, her voice calm and friendly. The bronze-scaled dragon, who seemed to be their leader, looked at her carefully. "We will have the stellar brew, strong, and extra heat." "Right away," Lara said, jotting it down on her small pad. She moved to the counter to prepare the order. As she worked, she glanced at the leader again, noticing something unusual. On his forearm, partially hidden under his sleeve, was a tattoo, a circular design with intricate lines that shimmered faintly. It looked old, worn, but deliberate. Something about it felt familiar. Lara blinked. She had seen this pattern somewhere before. Her mother's stories came rushing back, tales of interstellar diplomacy, alliances, and a mysterious group of dragon warriors who had once fought alongside humans in a long-forgotten war. Could it be? She shook her head slightly. Surely it was just a coincidence. Returning to the table with steaming cups, she placed them carefully in front of each dragon. The metallic handles clinked softly, and the dragons leaned forward, sniffing the aroma. They sipped cautiously, and then, almost simultaneously, their eyes widened. One of the smaller dragons, green-scaled with silver streaks, leaned toward Lara. "Wait, that design, your mother—" Lara's eyes widened. She hadn't meant to speak aloud, but the thought slipped out. "My mom has your tattoo," she said softly, almost as a question. The cafe went silent. Patrons froze mid-bite. Even the robotic assistants seemed to pause. The dragons stared at her, their eyes reflecting shock, recognition, and an emotion she couldn't name. It was as if the words had opened a door that had been closed for decades. The bronze leader leaned back, a low growl rumbling in his throat. That cannot be. It has been many cycles since we last saw her. How is this possible?" Lara shrugged, unsure of what to say. "I don't know," she admitted. "She told me stories about you, about the dragons who helped humans when no one else would." The oldest dragon, his scales dull but his eyes sharp, leaned forward. "She was a negotiator, a human of remarkable courage. You are her daughter?" "Yes," Lara said, her voice steady now, despite the shock she felt. She had never thought much about her mother's past. It had been full of secrets, of travels and alliances far from Earth. Yet here, in front of her, those secrets were alive, tangible, staring her in the face. The dragons whispered among themselves, their voices low but urgent. Lara could not understand the words fully, but she sensed a mixture of awe and disbelief. Finally, the bronze leader spoke again. You carry her blood, her courage, and perhaps her wisdom. It is remarkable." Lara felt a strange warmth in her chest. She had always thought of herself as ordinary, a simple waitress serving drinks and food. Yet now these legendary beings regarded her with a respect she had never known. The green-scaled dragon tilted his head, curiosity shining in his eyes. "Do you know what this tattoo means?" he asked. I think it's a symbol of loyalty and trust," Lara replied, recalling her mother's stories. "A promise between humans and dragons during the old wars. That's what my mom said." The dragons nodded slowly, their tails curling thoughtfully. The cafe's atmosphere shifted. Where moments ago there had been tension and fear, now there was a cautious respect. Lara realized that her words had done something she never expected. They had reminded these veterans of a past long forgotten, a history of cooperation and honor. Lara set down her pad and smiled, trying to ease the tension further. "I'm just a waitress," she said softly. "But if it helps, I'd love to hear your stories sometime. My mom used to tell me about the dragons she worked with. I'd love to know more from you." The bronze leader studied her for a long moment, then slowly nodded. "Perhaps you are more like her than you know," he said. The other dragons murmured agreement. From her corner of the cafe, Lara felt a thrill of anticipation. Today had started like any other busy day at Starlight Cafe, with the hum of machines and the chatter of customers. But now, everything had changed. The dragon's presence was no longer threatening. It was a doorway into a world of history, courage, and alliances that she had only heard about in stories. As Lara returned to her work, topping off drinks and taking orders, she realized one important truth. Sometimes even the simplest words, like the mention of a tattoo, could connect worlds, open doors, and astonish veterans of countless battles. And she had just done that. For Lara, the ordinary day had become extraordinary. And for the dragons, the familiar presence of a human who carried the legacy of trust and courage promised a future they had not expected. A future where humans were not just allies but worthy of respect in a galaxy full of danger and adventure. The cafe continued to hum with life, but now every corner held the possibility of discovery. And for Lara, the adventure was just beginning. The cafe had returned to its usual hum, though now there was an unusual tension lingering in the air. The other patrons whispered quietly, stealing glances at the dragons seated at the back, their tails coiled and wings partially folded. The dragons themselves seemed lost in thought, staring at Lara as if she were some living puzzle they could not solve. Lara cleared a table nearby, pretending to busy herself with wiping off crumbs and polishing silverware. But her eyes kept drifting back to the dragons. She could feel their intense gaze. Their leader, the bronze-scaled one, was staring at her with a mixture of astonishment and recognition, his eyes never leaving her face. Finally, the oldest dragon, with dull green scales but sharp, penetrating eyes, leaned forward, his voice low but commanding. "You said your mother has our tattoo?" he asked. Each word carried weight, like pebbles dropped into a still pond. "Yes," Lara replied, her voice steady. "She told me stories about dragons, about the wars you fought, and about the alliance with humans. She showed me a tattoo, just like yours." A low rumble sounded from the bronze dragon's chest. "Cycles have passed since we last saw her. That symbol, it was our promise. A human carried it with courage and loyalty. And now, you bear the words that connect you to her. Incredible." Lara felt her stomach twist with nervous excitement. She hadn't meant to shock them, and yet here she was, caught between her ordinary life as a waitress and the extraordinary attention of beings who had survived centuries of war. The green-scaled dragon tilted his head and spoke, curiosity shining through the cautious respect in his voice. "Do you understand what your mother risked? What she gave to us? And to your people?" Lara paused. She had heard fragments of the stories, but never the full weight. She helped humans and dragons work together. She made peace when no one else could. She said trust was more powerful than any weapon." The oldest dragon's eyes glimmered with nostalgia. "Your mother, she was remarkable, brave, clever, and unyielding. When war threatened to consume everything, she stood between chaos and order. You carry her legacy." The dragons exchanged glances, murmuring among themselves in low, guttural tones. Their voices were soft but urgent, a mix of shock and remembrance. Lara could not understand all their words, but she sensed their emotions clearly. Pride, sorrow, and wonder, tangled together. Kelthar, the bronze leader, finally spoke, his voice steady but tinged with awe. "We did not expect a human, her daughter, to appear here after so many cycles. You are proof that the bond she created still lives. And perhaps the galaxy is not yet lost to distrust and war." Lara blinked. The weight of their words sank in. Her mother had always seemed larger than life in stories, but now she realized that the past she had only glimpsed through bedtime tales and old photographs was more real and more dangerous than she could ever have imagined. "Do you want to talk about her?" Lara asked softly. "I mean, I'd like to know what she did, from your side, from your memories." The dragons paused, as if considering the offer. Then the oldest one, his green scales catching the dim light, began to speak, recounting events that had shaped the galaxy decades ago. "We fought in the great galactic wars," he began, his voice low and steady. "Your people were new to space travel then, vulnerable, struggling to survive. Many humans mistrusted us, fearing our strength and power. Your mother, she stepped into that fear and faced it. She spoke with courage, not weapons, and she earned trust where others could not." Lara listened, captivated. She had only ever imagined her mother negotiating small human matters, not commanding the attention of mighty dragons. "One battle," the bronze dragon continued, his eyes reflecting memory and pain, "threatened to destroy the outer colonies. Pirates, rogue fleets, the chaos was near total. Your mother, she negotiated a ceasefire, risking her life to ensure no innocent would die. She had no weapon, only words, clever strategies, and an understanding of who we were and what we valued. We listened. We trusted her." Lara felt a chill. Her mother had faced dragons in battles, and yet she had done it with trust and courage alone. Lara had grown up thinking her mother was brave, but now she understood the full depth of that bravery. The silver-streaked green dragon leaned closer, curiosity still sharp. "And now, you say her daughter carries her courage? Speak, Humyn. Can you live up to the weight of her legacy?" Lara's heart pounded. She had never thought herself capable of anything extraordinary. Yet here she was, facing dragons who had fought in wars spanning galaxies, asking if she could carry her mother's name and courage. I don't know yet," she admitted honestly. "I've been a waitress all my life. But I've learned to think fast, to act wisely when things get difficult. I want to try." Kelthar studied her, eyes narrowing thoughtfully. "Perhaps the galaxy still has hope," he murmured. "Perhaps humans have a spark we underestimated." The other dragons nodded, and the murmur among them grew, a mix of approval and cautious optimism. The cafe seemed smaller now, the ordinary hum replaced by the invisible weight of history and promise. Lara noticed a small flicker of movement in Kelthar's sleeve. The tattoo, partially hidden, shimmered faintly. She felt a strange connection, a link across generations, reminding her that courage and loyalty could endure, even in the most unlikely forms. "Humyn," Kelthar finally said, voice strong, "we would like you to assist us, not as a warrior, but as one who carries understanding, trust, and cleverness. There are matters, delicate, that require your kind of thinking." Lara blinked, unsure. "Me? What can I do for dragons?" "Humans see the world differently," the oldest dragon said. "You are clever in ways we cannot predict. Your mother had that skill. Perhaps you do as well. We need someone to deliver a message, a package, to an outpost far from here. Dangerous, yes, but not impossible for one who can think and act wisely." Her pulse quickened. She had never left her city, never traveled far beyond the spaceport, and now she was being asked to carry something across the stars for veteran dragons. A mission that could require courage, quick thinking, and negotiation skills she had only used in daily life serving customers. I'll do it," Lara said, surprising even herself. "I'll deliver your package." The dragons exchanged looks, murmurs of approval spreading among them. Kelthar inclined his head. "Very well. You may begin at dawn. Instructions will be given. Trust, Humyn, is the key. Use it wisely. Your courage will be tested, and your mind must remain sharp. Failure is not an option, but success may astonish even us." Lara's heart raced. Fear mingled with excitement. She realized that her ordinary life had shifted into something extraordinary in an instant. Serving drinks and pastries had been her world, but now interstellar adventures, negotiation, and diplomacy awaited her. As she walked back to the counter, careful not to spill a cup, she tried to imagine what her mother would say. Her mother had faced dragons, wars, and impossible odds. Lara could do this too. She had to. For the rest of the day, the cafe felt alive in a new way. Patrons whispered of dragons and ancient alliances. Robots and holograms seemed less important than the quiet presence of history itself, resting across the room at a table of veteran dragons. Lara moved through the cafe with new purpose, her eyes bright with anticipation. When closing time approached, Kael'thar and the other dragons rose from their seats. Their movements were graceful, almost ceremonial. Lara approached to help, but Kael'thar shook his massive head. "No need. You have served well today, and perhaps tomorrow you will serve in ways far greater than you can imagine." The other dragons murmured agreement. One of them even offered a small, respectful nod, a gesture that made Lara's stomach flutter with pride and nervous excitement. She had earned their respect in a single day, and the adventure had not even begun. As the dragons left, the cafe doors closing behind them with a metallic hiss, Lara looked at the empty table they had occupied. Her mind raced with questions. What challenges would await her on this mission? Could she really honor her mother's legacy? And most importantly, what did it truly mean to carry the courage and wisdom of a human who had changed the course of intergalactic history? She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. But alongside that weight was a spark. A thrill she had never known, a sense that her ordinary life was about to become something extraordinary. And for the first time, Lara understood that sometimes the simplest words, spoken without thinking, could open doors to adventure, courage, and honor. The galaxy was waiting, and Lara was ready. The next morning, the sun, or rather the twin suns of the spaceport planet, shone through the wide windows of Starlight Cafe. Lara arrived early, her heart still racing from yesterday's extraordinary events. She had barely slept, her mind alive with questions and excitement. Today, her life as a simple waitress would shift into something far larger. Kael'thar and the other dragons had instructed her to report to the spaceport hangar for her first task. They had been cautious with their words, careful not to overburden her, but the message was clear. Lara was about to be tested. When she reached the hangar, the dragons were waiting. Kael'thar's bronze scales glinted under the artificial lights, and the other dragons spread behind him, forming an imposing but controlled line. A sleek cargo ship rested nearby, designed for speed, stealth, and agility. Lara's stomach tightened as she approached. "You will deliver a package," Kael'thar said, his voice calm but firm. "It is small but important. It must reach the outpost on asteroid Veyron 9. En route, you will encounter challenges. Your success depends not on strength, but on courage, logic, and understanding. Humans excel at these. We hope you will too." Lara nodded, trying to suppress her nervousness. "I understand. I'll do my best." Kael'thar's eyes softened slightly. "Your best is all we ask. Begin now, and remember, trust, cleverness, and courage are your tools. Not all problems can be solved with force." The dragons stepped back, giving her space to board the ship. Lara climbed into the cockpit, taking a deep breath as she strapped herself into the seat. She ran through her mental checklist: systems operational, navigation charted, communication set. She wasn't a trained pilot, but she had learned quickly from years of handling complex cafe machinery, robotic assistants, and occasionally malfunctioning kitchen devices. Those skills, surprisingly, transferred well to piloting a small spacecraft. The engines hummed, and the ship lifted off smoothly. As Lara navigated through the first layers of the atmosphere, she marveled at the planets and moons beneath her. She had seen them from the cafe window before, but now she was moving among them, traveling toward a mission that could shape her future. Several hours into her journey, the ship passed through an asteroid field. The navigation system warned of unstable rocks, moving unpredictably. Lara's heart raced. One wrong move could smash the ship into fragments. She gripped the controls tightly, recalling Kael'thar's words. Use courage, logic, and understanding. Not force. She studied the patterns of the asteroids. Each rock had a predictable curve, and with careful timing, she could weave through without relying solely on the ship's thrusters. Her hands moved quickly, adjusting the ship's angle, timing her movements with precision. A small asteroid passed dangerously close to the cockpit, rattling the controls, but Lara stayed focused. By the time she emerged from the field, her chest heaved with relief. She had survived the first challenge. Even more importantly, she realized that her human intuition, her ability to notice patterns and react quickly, was exactly what the dragons had meant when they trusted her abilities. Her relief was short-lived. A warning beep flashed on the control panel. Unidentified vessel approaching. A pirate ship appeared on the radar, sleek and menacing, moving fast to intercept her cargo. Lara's mind raced. She had no weapons, no armor, and certainly no experience fighting space pirates. But she remembered Kael'thar's instructions. Force is not always the answer. Lara took a deep breath and activated the communication channel. "This is Lara Vera," she called. "I am carrying an important package. I do not wish to fight. I suggest we negotiate." The pirate vessel responded with static, then a distorted voice. "Drop the cargo or face consequences." Lara's mind spun. She had to think fast. Then she remembered her mother's stories, tales of negotiation, strategy, and clever thinking. Her mother had always emphasized understanding the opponent, finding common ground, and offering solutions that benefited both sides. Lara decided to try the same. "Wait," she said calmly, voice steady. "This package is valuable to many, but I am willing to trade. I can offer supplies, information, or resources you need more than this cargo. Let's find a solution that helps both of us." There was silence. Then the pirate's voice hesitated. "Information? About the outer colonies?" "Yes," Lara said. "I can guide you safely past asteroid fields and warn you of patrols. In return, you allow me to continue my mission with the package." The pirates conferred. Finally, the ship altered its course, moving aside to allow her passage. Lara exhaled, feeling a rush of adrenaline. She had survived her first real test, not through force, but by thinking like a human, using cleverness, empathy, and negotiation. Hours passed as she traveled closer to Veyron 9. Along the way, she observed strange phenomena: glowing nebula clouds, meteor showers, and energy storms that could destroy unshielded ships. Each challenge tested her observation skills, problem-solving, and courage. She learned to anticipate movements, calculate safe distances, and make quick decisions under pressure. By the time she approached the outpost, night, or the equivalent of night on the asteroid, had fallen. The outpost was a small cluster of domed structures surrounded by rocky terrain and harsh winds. Landing required precision, as one mistake could tip the ship or crush the cargo. Lara adjusted the thrusters carefully, lowering the ship with delicate movements. She landed smoothly, her heart pounding with relief and pride. Stepping out of the cockpit, she carried the package with care. The outpost commander, a tall alien with golden skin and two bright, thoughtful eyes, stepped forward. "You must be the human the dragons spoke of," he said, his voice calm but curious. "We did not expect someone so young and clever to arrive. How did you manage the pirates and storms?" Lara smiled faintly. "I listened, I observed, I thought carefully about my choices. And I remembered what the dragons told me. Courage, logic, and understanding are stronger than force." The commander nodded, impressed. "You truly have your mother's legacy. She would be proud." With the package delivered, Lara returned to her ship. The journey back would be difficult, but she now had confidence in her skills. She realized that humans had a unique advantage, the ability to think creatively, adapt quickly, and solve problems in ways even seasoned dragons might not consider. As she navigated home, the holographic display pinged with a message from Kelthar. It was short, but powerful. You have exceeded expectations. Your courage and cleverness honor your mother and surprise even us. Rest now. More challenges await. But you are ready. Lara smiled, feeling a warmth in her chest. She had done more than complete a mission. She had proven that even an ordinary human could rise to extraordinary challenges. The dragon's respect was not given lightly, and she had earned it. Landing back at Starlight Cafe, she stepped out of the ship to find the dragons waiting once more. Kelthar's bronze scales glinted under the hangar lights, and the other dragons formed a line behind him. They did not speak immediately, letting her approach them with quiet dignity. You returned safely, Kelthar said, his voice calm but proud. And the package was delivered intact. You think quickly, act wisely, and show courage. Your mother would be proud, and so are we. The oldest dragon, green-scaled and wise, stepped closer. You have proven that humans are capable of much more than we believed. Your cleverness, your courage, and your ability to solve problems without relying on strength. Remarkable. Lara felt a sense of accomplishment she had never known. For the first time, she realized that her life was no longer ordinary. Her mother's legacy had not only opened doors to this world, but had shown her that humans could truly make a difference, even in a galaxy filled with powerful dragons and ancient conflicts. As she walked back to the cafe, Lara glanced at the stars above. Each one was a reminder of challenges, possibilities, and adventures waiting just beyond reach. She had passed her first real test, but she knew more awaited her, challenges that would require even more courage, cleverness, and heart. And she was ready. The ordinary waitress had begun her transformation into someone extraordinary. And the galaxy, vast and full of wonders and dangers, had taken notice. Lara had returned from her first mission, feeling a mix of pride and exhaustion. Her heart still raced as she thought about the pirate encounter and navigating the asteroid field. She had survived by trusting her instincts and clever thinking. But she knew this was only the beginning. The dragons had made it clear. Her journey had just started, and greater challenges lay ahead. Kelthar, the bronze leader, had requested a private meeting. Lara followed him to a quiet section of the spaceport, far from the hum of ships and chatter of travelers. Behind him, the other dragons waited, silent but observant. Their eyes studied her carefully, as if measuring her courage, patience, and wisdom. The next task, Kelthar said, voice steady and commanding, will test more than your ability to navigate or negotiate. It will test your judgment, creativity, and the strength of your spirit. Are you prepared? Lara nodded, straightening her shoulders. I'll do my best. Kelthar's eyes glinted. Your best will need to be extraordinary. You are to deliver a new package to Outpost Zorath, located near a volatile asteroid cluster. This area is unstable, full of rogue elements, and not all travelers survive. You must navigate the cluster, avoid danger, and deliver the package without delay. Your cleverness will be your greatest weapon. Strength alone will not suffice. Lara's pulse quickened. She had already faced pirates and asteroid fields, but Kelthar's description made it clear that this task would be far more dangerous. She reminded herself of her mother's lessons. Observe, adapt, and trust in your abilities. The journey began smoothly. Lara's ship lifted off under the guidance of advanced systems provided by the dragons. The cargo was small but precious, carefully secured, and she treated it as if it were a living thing. Every adjustment to the ship's trajectory was precise, every calculation measured. She had learned from her first mission, overconfidence could be fatal. Soon, the asteroid cluster loomed ahead. Rocks of all sizes floated through space, some spinning rapidly, others drifting slowly but unpredictably. Lara scanned the cluster, mapping potential paths. A direct route would be fast but dangerous. A longer path would require careful timing and skill. She decided on the longer route, knowing patience and observation were key. As she entered the cluster, alarms began to flash. Small asteroids suddenly changed paths, influenced by unseen gravitational anomalies. Lara adjusted the thrusters carefully, weaving between obstacles. One rock slammed against the hull, shaking the cockpit violently, but the ship's shields held. She breathed deeply, steadying her hands. Suddenly, her sensors detected movement. Another ship approaching. Unlike the pirates before, this vessel was silent, sleek, and equipped with advanced stealth technology. Lara's heart raced. She was being watched, possibly targeted. She activated the communication channel. "This is Lara Vera. I mean no harm. I carry a delivery for Outpost Zorath. Please allow me passage." There was no response. Lara realized this was no ordinary encounter. Her instincts told her that any aggressive move could trigger conflict. She had to think creatively. Observing the vessel, she noticed small patterns in its movement. It mirrored her ship's trajectory, waiting for an opening. Lara remembered a lesson from her mother. Sometimes, showing confidence without aggression disarms opponents. She maneuvered her ship calmly, creating a path that suggested vulnerability but was actually calculated. As the approaching vessel followed, Lara released small decoy drones from her ship. They emitted lights and signals mimicking her ship's movements, confusing the vessel. The cloaked ship adjusted, chasing the decoys instead of her real trajectory. Breathing a sigh of relief, Lara continued. She realized that her human creativity, combining observation, strategy, and improvisation, was proving more effective than brute strength or weapons. She smiled faintly, realizing that this was exactly the quality the dragons had trusted her for. Hours passed, each moment testing her focus. She navigated asteroid clusters, dodged energy storms, and avoided rogue drones. Each challenge required calm thinking, patience, and clever problem-solving. Lara discovered a resilience she hadn't known she possessed. Finally, Outpost Zorath appeared on the sensors. The station was small, a collection of domes connected by narrow walkways, illuminated by soft lights. It looked fragile against the black void of space. Lara guided her ship carefully, lowering it onto the landing pad with precise control. The ship touched down smoothly, and she exhaled in relief. Stepping out, Lara was greeted by the station commander, a tall, silver-skinned alien with expressive eyes. "You must be the human the dragon spoke of," the commander said, voice calm but full of curiosity. "We did not expect someone so young and clever to arrive safely. How did you navigate the cluster and avoid hostile ships?" Lara smiled faintly. "Observation, patience, and thinking creatively," she said. "I had to anticipate dangers and adjust my actions without relying on force. The dragons taught me to trust my mind and my instincts." The commander nodded, impressed. "Remarkable. You truly carry the legacy of your mother. She was wise and courageous, and it seems you have inherited both qualities." With the package safely delivered, Lara returned to her ship, feeling a sense of accomplishment and pride. She had faced challenges far beyond what any ordinary human would encounter and had succeeded through clever thinking, courage, and determination. As she prepared to return, Kael'thar's holographic message appeared. "You have exceeded our expectations. Your cleverness and courage astonish even seasoned dragons. Rest now, human, for more challenges await. The galaxy has recognized your potential." Lara felt warmth in her chest. She realized that humans, often underestimated, could shine even among the most experienced dragons. Her creativity, courage, and ability to adapt were strengths that even centuries of experience could not replicate. The journey back was quieter, though Lara remained vigilant. She reflected on her mother's legacy and how it had guided her in ways she hadn't fully understood until now. Humans had an ability to solve problems in ways dragons did not, using creativity, empathy, and understanding instead of brute force. That realization gave her confidence and hope. Returning to Starlight Cafe, Lara found the dragons waiting once more. Kael'thar's bronze scales glinted under the hangar lights, and the other dragons formed a line behind him, silent but attentive. "You have returned safely and completed your task," Kael'thar said. "Your courage, cleverness, and adaptability have been proven. You honor your mother's legacy and surpass our expectations." The oldest dragon stepped forward, his green scales reflecting light. "You have shown that humans are capable of more than we believed. Your creativity, patience, and problem-solving are rare, even among dragons. You have earned our respect." Lara felt a surge of pride and humility. She had never considered herself extraordinary, yet here she was, recognized by beings who had survived centuries of war. Her mother's legacy had opened doors, but her own courage and intelligence had allowed her to step through them. As she walked back to the cafe, Lara looked at the stars above. Each one was a reminder of challenges, possibilities, and adventures waiting just beyond reach. She had passed another test, proving that humans could rise to extraordinary challenges through cleverness, courage, and understanding. And she was ready. The ordinary waitress had transformed into someone capable of remarkable feats. The galaxy, vast and full of wonders and dangers, had taken notice. Lara understood now that her journey was far from over, and that her courage and ingenuity would be tested in ways she could not yet imagine. But one thing was certain. She had proven that even an ordinary human could astonish dragons, navigate dangers, and carry forward a legacy of courage, cleverness, and trust. Her adventure was only beginning, and the galaxy had already started to change because of her. The stars shone brightly over Starlight Cafe, their glow reflecting off the polished floors and glass windows. The cafe was unusually quiet that evening. Patrons whispered about the legendary dragons who had visited, and most kept their distance, sensing the weight of history in the room. Lara moved gracefully between tables, her mind alive with the events of the past weeks. She had faced pirates, navigated asteroid clusters, and delivered important packages, all without weapons, relying on her courage, cleverness, and calm mind. But tonight, she sensed that something extraordinary was about to happen. A sudden ripple of energy swept through the cafe as the automatic doors slid open. The dragons had returned, not just Kael'thar and his veterans, but a larger group, each one older, scarred, and wise. Their scales gleamed under the cafe lights, and their wings were partially extended, a symbol of readiness and respect. Patrons quickly stepped aside, giving them space. Lara's heart raced. Kael'thar stepped forward, bronze scales shining, his eyes sharp and commanding. "Humyn," he said, his voice echoing in the quiet cafe, "you have completed tasks that even seasoned dragons would find challenging. Your courage, ingenuity, and diplomacy have proven that humans are capable of extraordinary things. Tonight, we honor you." Lara's stomach tightened. She had never expected recognition like this. She had only tried to do her best, relying on her instincts and the lessons her mother had passed down. The oldest dragon, green-scaled and wise, stepped forward, lowering his massive head in a gesture of respect. "Your mother carried the legacy of trust, courage, and intelligence. You have not only carried it forward, but expanded it in ways we could not have imagined. You are no longer just a human waitress. You are a bridge between our worlds." Lara swallowed, humbled. I only tried to do what I thought was right," she said softly. Kael'thar's eyes glinted. "Doing what is right is often the hardest test. You have passed with honor, and now there is a matter of importance." The dragons murmured among themselves, and Lara noticed several of them producing small, intricate objects, tokens, almost like miniature versions of their tattoos, glowing faintly. Kael'thar placed one in front of her. "This is a symbol of alliance," Kael'thar explained, "a bond that existed between humans and dragons long ago. Your mother once carried this bond with courage and wisdom. Tonight, we pass it to you." Lara reached out and touched the token. A warm energy coursed through her, filling her with strength, clarity, and connection to the dragons around her. She felt a deep understanding, their history, their values, and their trust in her. Suddenly, an alert sounded from the cafe's monitors. A nearby sector was in turmoil. A rogue alien faction had attacked a small human settlement, threatening innocent lives. Lara's heart tightened. She had faced danger before, but this was different. The people were not strangers, and she knew the dragon's trust in her gave her responsibility beyond herself. Kael'thar's voice broke her thoughts. "Your courage and cleverness have been proven. Now it is time to act. The humans in that sector need aid, and your unique skills may turn the tide." Lara took a deep breath. She had faced pirates, asteroid clusters, and hostile negotiations before, but now the stakes were higher. This was not a test. It was real, and failure would have consequences. Yet, she did not hesitate. Her training, instincts, and courage had prepared her. The dragons formed a protective circle around her, offering both guidance and shield. Lara activated her ship's engines, the hum of power filling the hangar. The dragons flew alongside, their wings creating a wind that seemed to lift her spirit as much as the ship. Traveling through space, Lara's mind worked swiftly. She analyzed the sector, calculated risks, and identified safe approaches to the settlement. The rogue faction's ships were numerous, but disorganized. Lara noticed patterns in their movement, small weaknesses that could be exploited. She relayed instructions to the dragons, coordinating movements without the need for violence. Instead of attacking, she used clever tactics. She created decoys with holographic projections, directing the rogue ships away from the settlement. She guided the settlement's defenders to safe locations, and even arranged supply drops using drones. Her quick thinking prevented destruction, saved lives, and ensured that the alien attackers were confused and ineffective. The dragons observed in silent amazement. Kael'thar's wings twitched in approval, and the green-scaled dragon murmured, "Even we could not have predicted such cleverness. Humans truly have a spark we underestimated." By the time the sector was secure, the rogue faction had retreated, bewildered by the strategy they could not understand. The settlement remained intact, and its people were safe. Lara's heart raced with relief and pride. She had faced danger, solved problems without violence, and succeeded where many might have failed. Returning to the cafe, Lara landed her ship gracefully, feeling a sense of accomplishment unlike any she had known. The dragons were waiting, forming a proud, silent line. Patrons watched in awe, realizing they were witnessing a human being honored not just for bravery, but for cleverness, wisdom, and heart. Kael'thar stepped forward, placing a talon gently on Lara's shoulder. "You have shown that humans, with courage, intelligence, and trust, can accomplish what dragons and humans together once only dreamed of. You are a bridge between worlds. Your mother's legacy continues through you, stronger than ever." The oldest dragon nodded, his eyes reflecting pride and emotion. "The galaxy will remember this day. Humans and dragons, united through courage, wisdom, and trust, will face challenges together, and it is thanks to you. Lara felt a warmth in her chest. She had started as a simple waitress, unaware of the history that surrounded her. Now, she was part of something larger, a living legacy of trust, courage, and alliance. She understood her role. Humans had the ability to surprise, to solve problems creatively, and to act with courage even in the face of overwhelming odds. The dragons presented her with another token, a glowing pendant, more intricate than the first. "This is your symbol," Kelthar said. "It marks you as an ambassador, a problem solver, and a bearer of courage. Carry it well." Lara accepted it with reverence. She realized that her life had changed completely. The ordinary girl who served drinks and pastries had become a symbol of hope, a connector of worlds, and a testament to what humans could achieve. The dragons spread their wings, creating a gentle wind through the cafe. Patrons clapped quietly, awed by the sight and the significance. Lara looked around, feeling gratitude and determination. She knew there would be more challenges, more tests and more adventures ahead. But she was ready. She had courage, cleverness, and the trust of dragons centuries old. Kelthar spoke one final time. "Humyn, remember this. Your courage and cleverness can change the galaxy. Your mother knew it. We now know it through you. The alliance between humans and dragons is stronger than ever, thanks to your actions." Lara nodded, her heart full. "I will do my best," she said, her voice steady. "I will honor my mother and this alliance." As the dragons lifted off into the sky, leaving the cafe bathed in their fading shadows, Lara stood at the door, watching them. She felt a sense of purpose and destiny. The ordinary waitress was no longer ordinary. She was a human capable of astonishing dragons, solving impossible problems, and inspiring trust and respect across species. The galaxy was wide, full of dangers, wonders, and adventures. Lara smiled. For the first time, she felt truly ready for all of it. Her journey had begun as a simple act of recognition. One line, one mention of a tattoo. Yet it had grown into something extraordinary. Courage, cleverness, and trust had opened doors that no weapon or strength could have unlocked. And now, Lara knew the truth. Humans, with their hearts, minds, and determination, could stand among dragons, shape the galaxy, and create a legacy of honor and hope that would last for generations. She stepped back into the cafe, greeted by curious eyes and quiet admiration. The ordinary world was still there, but it had changed too. Every corner, every patron, every shining surface seemed touched by the extraordinary events of the day. Lara smiled to herself. She was ready for the next adventure, the next challenge, the next chance to prove that humans could astonish even the most legendary beings in the galaxy. Tonight, the cafe was quiet. But for Lara, the galaxy had never felt louder with possibility.